Hello, sports fan. This is Stephen Hill for Sports Choice Plus. I'm bringing you a very special breakdown. I'm going to be covering Paul Finebaum's no way, no how on Deion Sanders and the University of Colorado. Before I get right into that, I want to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you can get all the updates and all the breakdowns. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Looking at college football, and you're looking at the new provisions for the college football playoff, how they've gone from 4 teams, now they've entered multiple more teams, and you ask yourself, with Paul Finebaum on ESPN First Take, they were debating, will at some point in time Deion Sanders lead one of his teams to the college football playoff? And he says, no way, no how. He talked about how Deion is more for the aesthetics of it. It's more song and dance. It's more pony show. It's more NIL and look at me and flash. And I beg to differ. When I think about the University of Colorado and I think about where they were 365 days ago, before Deion accepted that contract, before he was in play as far as the University of Colorado's head coach, you have to think about this. They had one win. The roster was in shambles. They didn't have a lot of continuity. The head coach that was leaving out didn't have a chance of staying. And you got to think, Deion came in, there was a lot of fervor, there was a lot of fanfare, there was a lot of circus acts, if you will. There was a lot of people clinging on to the program now because Deion Sanders brings that cachet. And you think about it, there was a slew of transfers that included Shedeur Sanders and also Travis Hunter and Shiloh Sanders as well. And now you're starting to see recruits come from all different parts of the country, people transferring from this big school, that big school, from Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas, all over the place. And now you're looking ramped up, and the season started with a bang. You got to keep in mind, there was injuries to Travis Hunter, there was injuries to different people, and you got to think a lot of these players had not played with each other for an extended period of time. So you didn't have that traditional training camp like you're normally having. You didn't have those conditional drills and things like this throughout the summer because you're building a program up. In your first year, you win 3 or 4 games after only winning 1 game the year before. Now you've gotten more of your recruits. Now you've gotten bigger offensive linemen, bigger defensive linemen, and you're building the blocks at the bottom, and you're starting to put your program up on the top. And Paul Finebaum does not see that. Again, he doesn't believe that Deion's going to be there after Shedeur Sanders and after Shiloh Sanders graduate and Travis Hunter and they get drafted. And again, that's his personal bravado and his provocative. But you got to think from the standpoint, if Deion tells us he's not leaving, he's going to be there for a while, I'm taking him at face value. He told you at Jackson State, hey, y'all got to get y'all stuff together. I'm not the guy for the long haul of this. I am starting this. If you look back at interviews, he was very honest with you. He was upfront with you. He's about building men, building young men into grown men so they can go into society and change things. His GPA level has raised. The last couple of times he's been coaching, every year it raises for the overall team. You got to think about what he's doing in the community. You got to think about the money that's brought into University of Colorado. It's a development of everything, not just guys on the field. But when it comes down to it, he will build up the University of Colorado to be a powerhouse. If you think about everything Shedeur Sanders is doing, if you think about them getting the big offensive linemen, them drafting, getting guys that are going to be able to get drafted, it's a cycle. It's a process. It's the same thing that happens at Oklahoma, happens at Georgia, happens at USC, happens at UCLA, happens at Ohio State. You're building the flat line for your program, and you're building blocks or your offensive linemen, your key 5-star defensive tackles, your key transfers. And it's a process. Now, mind you, there's a big bullseye on the back of Colorado. Maybe it's self-proclaimed bullseye. They've earned it. But you got to think, from the standpoint, can Deion Sanders get one of his teams to the college football playoff? You may see them playing for the college football playoff this year. Yes, they're playing in a difficult Big 12, where I believe there are 16 teams. But with the roster that they have right now, with Shedeur Sanders, with Travis Hunter, and some of those unnamed guys that we've seen through the transfer portal, and some of the guys we've seen them pick up through the recruiting process, Colorado is on an impact with the college football playoff. Thinking about what Deion can do and how great he is as a recruiter, he's getting some of the best names in college that were on other teams that weren't playing, that possibly didn't like their situation, couldn't get any playing time. Boom, he's on the Colorado roster. And there's a level of competition that you want on the roster. The cream is rising to the top. There's accountability. So with that being said, I do believe Deion at some point will crack the college football playoff. I do believe he will be one of the last 4 teams chosen to get inside. And I do believe that he can win a national championship. It just takes time. So with that being said, Paul Finebaum, respectfully, I don't believe you're right on this one. I think Paul's going to have to take a eating crow class because he's going to have to eat a little bit of crow. But within the next 2-3 years, I could definitely see Deion being in there. So all of you college football fans, Colorado fans, all you Paul Finebaum fans, get in the comment section below. Definitely check out Sports Choice Plus, and we will see you on the very next video.